Hey everyone, Dana here. What is in a name? That which we call a name by any other name would sound. I think I messed something up there. Anyway, names. We all have one, also in Germany and the US. That is not a cultural difference. We all have names. But the thing is, people seem to think that the English word name and the German word Name mean the same thing. They do, don't they? I mean, they look the same, and if you look the word Name up in a German-English dictionary, you get name. Name, Name, name. Same thing, yeah? No, I am convinced that they are not the same thing. In fact, they are not just not the same thing, but I would argue that they are false friends with each other, right up there with other words like handy, mist, hell, gift. Name and Name are false friends, and in this video, I will explain why. I have been living here in Germany for over a decade at this point, and still, this situation here still happens to me. Oh, crap. So many times. That has happened to me so many times. For me, coming from the US, I've seen quite often on forums that it will say perhaps like name and then first and last, or first, middle, and last. But name in English, at least in the US, is not just a stand-in for last name. If anything, I would say that in the US, the word name is often a stand-in for first name. If someone asks me what my name is, for example, I will say Dana. I will say my first name. What's your name? Dana. And when I worked in customer service in the US and my boss told me that I would be getting a little name tag to wear with my name on it, I never, ever, ever, not even for a second, thought that perhaps it would just be my last name. No, I never thought that. That never occurred to me. And I highly suspected that it would probably be just my first name, but I definitely did not think when I was told I would be getting a name tag with my name on it, that that might mean it would be just my last name. Here in Germany, it seems to be just the opposite. If you go to a grocery store here in Germany, you will see people working there have on their name tag not their first name, but rather just the last name. And as my little form example from before clearly shows, here in Germany, the word Name is often used as a stand-in for Nachname, last name, while Vorname is expressly written out for Vorname, for the first name. It says Name for Nachname, and then it says Vorname for first name. And I have noticed also that here in Germany, some people just refer to their coworkers by just the last name. Whereas in the US, I didn't even know the last name of all my coworkers. Yeah, I didn't. I guess I would say that for me, the last name is just not really the most important part of the name. For me, the first name is the most important part of the name. I'm gonna admit something now that I'm pretty sure Stefan is kind of like horrified by, and you might be too. But yeah, in my contacts on my phone, some of the people in there don't have last names. Not everybody in my phone has last names. I mean, they have last names, but I have not always written them in my phone. For some of the people, I just have their first name and where I know them from, because I just never really thought to ask for their last name. Like, it never just kind of came up in conversation. And I sort my contacts by first name anyway. Oh, that's a good question for you down in the comments. Do you sort your contacts in your address book, digital or analog, by first name or by last name? So are you hashtag address book last name or hashtag address book first name? Let me know in the comments. As I said, I am team address book first name all the way. If I suddenly had to find people in my address book by their last name for whatever reason, I would be in trouble. I do not know all my friends' last names by heart. Like, some of my friends, I might have their name in my address book, but if you asked me, what is your friend so-and-so's last name, I couldn't tell you without looking it up. And yeah, other people, I don't have their last name in my address book at all. And yes, living here in Germany, over the past more than a decade, living here in Germany, I have gotten in trouble a few times when I've tried to go visit someone and I get to their apartment and then I look in my address book and I realize I don't know their last name. So I didn't know what buzzer to push for their apartment, because here in Germany, the apartments are labeled with last name. So I had to call them and be like, hi, I'm at your apartment. I don't know your last name. That's not a problem that I ever had to deal with in the US, because in the US, the apartments are labeled by number. So like 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, etc. So yeah. With all this evidence, how can you continue to say that name and Name mean exactly the same thing? They do not. They do not. They do not. Name in English leans more towards being the default, the nickname, if you will, for first name, while Name auf Deutsch leans more towards, like, I've seen it used on forums as a literal replacement for Nachname. Name and name are not the same thing. I rest my case. They are not the same thing. So my question for you is, have you ever showed up at somebody's apartment building, like to visit a friend, and you realized you didn't know their last name, and so you had to call them and be like, hi, I'm at your apartment. What's your last name? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I also made a German version of this video linked up in the little I and down in the description. So I hope you also have fun watching the German version. Again, yeah, like, I think the videos are pretty similar, but, well, I haven't filmed the German version yet, but I'm planning on making it pretty similar to this version. But I don't know, maybe there are some little differences in how I talk or whatever, and I find it really interesting. Anyway, so yeah, there's also a German version. For more content from me, you can follow me over on my social media at Wanted Adventure. My Instagram stories are usually in German. A really big thank you so very much to our patrons on Patreon who help make these videos possible. Thank you so very much for your support. And yeah, I wish you a nice day. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen. That's not a problem that I ever had to deal with in the US, because their apartments are that's not something that I ever had to deal with in the US, because their apartments are labeled. Why do I keep saying labeled? Labeled. Apartments are labeled by number. Nabled by Lunder. That's what I want to say. Nabled by Lunder.